push through the pain. Person lifting weights. The iron clanked against steel, echoing through the dimly lit gym. Sweat dripped from the ceiling pipes, the floor sticky with chalk dust and the smell of metal. It was 5 a.m. in Newark, New Jersey, a city where dreams were often crushed faster than they were born. But for Alejandro Ruiz, a 22-year-old immigrant from Mexico, this gym wasn't just a place to lift weights. It was his battlefield, his confessional, and his one-way ticket out of the life that had nearly killed him. Alejandro's hands trembled as he wrapped his wrists. He could feel the scars, the ones no one else could see, burning underneath his skin. Every rep wasn't just about muscle. It was about memory. The past that wouldn't let go. Just 4 years earlier, Alejandro was running with a crew in East LA. Gangs, drugs, and the kind of nights where you didn't know if you'd see sunrise. His father had died crossing the border when Alejandro was just 8. His mother cleaned houses, barely keeping food on the table. For a while, the streets felt like family. But family in that world demanded blood. The turning point came the night his best friend Diego was shot during a deal gone bad. Alejandro had been right there, the gunshot echoing in his ears, the warmth of Diego's blood soaking into his shirt. Diego had whispered his last words, "Bro, don't waste it. Don't waste your life like me." That night, Alejandro walked away. Not from pain it followed him, but from the path that had promised only death or prison. A new kind of fight. Now in Newark, Alejandro lived in a cramped one-bedroom apartment above a bodega, working nights unloading trucks at the port. But every morning before the sun rose, he dragged himself into the gym. His body ached, his bones screamed, but inside the iron there was silence. Inside the pain, there was purpose. He had one dream: to compete in a national powerlifting meet. To prove, not to others but to himself, that he could carry weight heavier than his past. His coach, an old-school ex-Marine named Coach Harris, had seen hundreds of young men come and go. But there was something in Alejandro's eyes that unsettled him. Darkness, yes, but also fire. "Pain's not your enemy, kid," Harris would growl. "It's your compass. Push through it, and it'll lead you home." The breaking point. 3 months before the competition, Alejandro tore a ligament in his knee during training. The doctor told him to rest. 6 weeks minimum. Maybe longer. Alejandro just nodded, but inside he felt the familiar pull of defeat. That night, he limped home, collapsed on the floor of his apartment, and stared at the ceiling. His hands shook, not from pain but from rage. He could hear Diego's voice again. "Don't waste it." He wanted to scream. He wanted to quit. But then he looked at the wall. On it was a picture of his mother in her cleaning uniform, her smile tired but proud. He remembered her words in broken English the day he left LA. "My Joe, you be strong, for me. For your father. For you." The next morning, Alejandro was back in the gym, crutches under his arms. Coach Harris cursed at him, told him he was insane. But Alejandro didn't care. If he couldn't squat, he'd bench. If he couldn't run, he'd crawl. He refused to stop. The competition. The day of the national meet arrived. 1,000 faces in the crowd. Flags hanging from the ceiling. The smell of chalk, sweat, and adrenaline filled the air. Alejandro walked onto the platform, his knee still strapped tight with black tape. The announcer called his name, representing New Jersey, Alejandro Ruiz. His heart pounded. He remembered the alleyways of East LA, the blood on his hands, the fear in his mother's eyes. All of it had brought him here. First attempt, the bar bent under the weight. His arms shook, but he pushed. 1 rep, 2. 3. Success. The crowd roared. But Alejandro wasn't hearing them. He was hearing Diego. Don't waste it. Second attempt, heavier weight. His knee screamed, vision blurred, but he clenched his teeth. Success again. The final attempt was the heaviest. The bar looked like a monster waiting to crush him. Coach Harris leaned close, his voice low. You've already won, kid. But if you want to show the world, push through the pain. Alejandro stepped up. The crowd hushed. He gripped the bar, closed his eyes, and whispered to himself, for you, mama. For you, Diego. The bar descended. His chest caved. For a moment, it felt impossible. But then, like fire from his soul, he pushed. Every ounce of pain, every scar, every ghost inside him lifted with that weight. When he locked out the rep, the stadium erupted. Alejandro dropped the bar, tears streaming down his face. He had done it. The twist. After the meet, a man approached him. A recruiter from a community college. They had seen his story on local news. We need someone like you, the man said. Not just for lifting. To mentor kids who are where you used to be. You in? Alejandro stared, stunned. For years, he thought his redemption was about proving himself alone. But now he realized it was also about pulling others out of the fire. The ending. Months later, Alejandro stood in front of a classroom full of teenagers, some tough, some broken, all searching for something. He didn't lecture them. He showed them his scars. He told them about Diego. He told them about the nights he almost didn't make it. And he told them about the barbell. Life's gonna crush you, he said, his voice steady. It's gonna put weight on your back you think you can't carry. But listen to me. You can. Don't run from the pain. Don't numb it. Push through it. On the other side, is freedom. The kids watched him, wide-eyed. And in that moment, Alejandro knew, the real victory wasn't on the platform. It was here. In giving his pain a purpose. Because sometimes, the heaviest weight a man can lift is the weight of his own past. And Alejandro Ruiz, once broken, once lost, had finally pushed through.